London is my hometown, so I've got a slightly different approach to this one. If you've got 7 days in London, I'm not going to try and tell you that you need to visit every single attraction, every single museum, and every single famous street just because it's on a tourist checklist. In fact, there's quite a few things I've deliberately left off this itinerary because personally, I don't think they're worth giving up the time for. Instead, this is how I would actually spend 7 days in London if it was my first time visiting. We'll start with the London Eye, then move to Westminster and Big Ben before heading to St Paul's, Trafalgar Square, Covent Garden, Buckingham Palace, and finally finishing in Hyde Park. So, without further ado, let's spend 7 days in London. Day one starts right in the heart of London with the London Eye. And I think this is actually a really good way to start your trip because it gives you a chance to get your bearings and just see how big London truly is. The ride itself takes about half an hour, and as you go round, you'll see some of the most brilliant views across central London, especially towards Westminster and the River Thames. I'd then spend the rest of the day just exploring the area around South Bank. You've got plenty of places to eat, you can walk along the river, and there's always something going on. You don't need to completely fill your first day with attractions. You've just arrived in London, so take it easy, get used to the city, and enjoy being here. Day two is probably the most recognisably London day of the entire itinerary, because we're heading over to Westminster. Start with Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament, and then just take your time walking around the area. Westminster Abbey is right here as well, and if that's something you want to see inside, this would be the day to do it. I'd also walk across Westminster Bridge because you get some incredible good views looking back towards the Houses of Parliament and South Bank with the London Eye. And this is one of those areas where you don't really need to overplan anything. You've got the river, the architecture, the parks, and loads of little streets to explore. It's one of those places where you can just walk around and can continuously find another recognisable London view. For day three, we're heading over to St Paul's Cathedral. This is one of those places that looks impressive from the outside. I definitely recommend going inside if you can. You can explore the cathedral itself, and if you're up for it, you can also climb up into the dome for some really good views around London. Once you finish here, don't feel like you immediately need to rush off to the next attraction. This part of London is a great thing for just walking around and chilling. You've got the city, the Thames, and there's loads of little streets and places to stop for something to drink. And that's really the theme of this itinerary. See the big sights, but give yourself enough time to actually enjoy the city around them. Day four takes us to Trafalgar Square, which is basically one of the best places to start exploring central London. You've got Nelson's Column right in the middle, the National Gallery overlooking the square, and you've got some of London's busiest streets leading off in pretty much every direction. If you like museums and galleries, there's a great opportunity to spend time in the National Gallery. And if you're not really a museum person, don't worry, you can still enjoy the area without spending hours inside of one. From here, you've got Leicester Square, Piccadilly Circus, and plenty of shops, restaurants, and theatres, all within walking distance. This is probably a day where I just wander and see where you end up. Day five is all about Covent Garden, and this is probably one of my few areas just to spend a few hours. You've got markets, shops, restaurants, cafes, and of course, the street performers that you usually find around the square. And the nice thing about Covent Garden is that you don't really need to plan. Just walk around, have a look at some shops, grab something to eat, and explore some of the smaller streets around the area. You're also really close to places like Soho and the West End, so there's loads around here if you want to keep exploring. I'd probably make this day slightly slower. After 4 days of sightseeing, you really don't need to be racing from one landmark to the other. Day six is Buckingham Palace. And yes, this is probably an obvious choice, but there's a reason it's very obvious. It's one of those places you should really visit when you're in London for the first time. I'll start at the palace, and if you are visiting just at the right time, you may also see the changing of the guards. Just make sure you check the schedule beforehand because it doesn't happen every day. From there, you've got St James's Park right next door, which is one of my favourite places to walk through central London. Then you can carry on towards the Mall and eventually back towards Trafalgar Square. So there's plenty to fill the rest of your day without having to jump on the tube every 5 minutes. It's a really easy day to take it at your own pace. And for the final day, we are doing something a little bit different. Hyde Park. After 6 days of seeing London's biggest landmarks, I think it's actually a nice day where you can slow down and just enjoy the city. Hyde Park is absolutely massive, so you can easily spend a few hours walking around, grabbing something to eat, or just finding somewhere to sit and watch the world go by. After, if you want, you can see Kensington Gardens and Kensington Palace right next door, so there's plenty to explore. I also wouldn't try to cram loads into this final day. You've already seen the major sites, so this is your chance to enjoy London without constantly checking on what's next on the itinerary.